thanks to the organizers for allowing me to speak on this occasion. So, as you all know, the COVID-19 pandemic has resulted in a rapid increase in the patients who are requiring intubation, especially those patients who go into respiratory failure. While the true incidence is really not known as of now, but a large case series have suggested that almost a quarter of the patients who have been admitted to the hospital because of COVID-19, they require endotracheal intubation. The risk of spread of COVID-19 virus through aerosolizing procedures is such as during intubation as well as during extubation is well documented. While the majority of the reports, as we've already heard the previous lectures, they concentrate or focus on intubation, but I think extubation also has the same or more risk of aerosolization. So extubation of patients with coronavirus disease 2019 is a procedure which is full of risk, not only for the patient, but also for the staff. So coughing is common in patients immediately. Just a minute. Coughing is common in patients immediately after extubation, and it contributes to an additional aerosolization of SARS-CoV-2 virus. Guidelines for extubation are inconsistent and are still not very well defined. While the use of non-invasive positive pressure ventilation strategies post-extubation is largely recommended for non-COVID patients with ARDS, but there is little guidance on how to balance the clinical advantages of this intervention as against the risk of viral aerosolization. So what is the difference between intubation and extubation in a COVID patient? We all know that during intubation, we can give sedatives in generous amounts before intubation, but for extubation, sedatives are usually withdrawn or given in very low doses. Also, muscle relaxants are generally used for intubation, but during extubation, we have to ensure that the effect of the muscle relaxant has weared off. Cough or gag reflex is obtunded with proper depth of anesthesia before intubation. But as we all know, cough or gag reflex is usually present before extubation. So extubation, I think, is more hazardous as compared to intubation, especially in the COVID positive patients, and causing a lot of aerosol dispersion. So as you've already seen, the All India Difficult Airway Guidelines for airway management in the operating room. As per their guidelines, tracheal extubation should be performed under a plastic sheet or with a COVID box. A face mask may be threaded over the endotracheal tube prior to tracheal extubation so as to prevent the spread of aerosols. Nebulization with saline or bronchodilators should generally be avoided. Airway manipulation and airway exchange should be avoided during extubation. And because tracheal extubation is an elective procedure, we may defer it, especially if there are concerns about a failed extubation. To continue with the IDA guidelines, efforts should be made to minimize coughing and exposure to infected secretions at the time of extubation. We have to undertake appropriate physiotherapy, and tracheal or oral suction should be done before extubation. If we have to do a tracheal suction, it should always be a closed tracheal suction. We have to prepare and check all the necessary equipment for mask or low flow, example, nasal cannula, oxygenation before we start extubating the patient. And immediately after extubation, we should put a face mask on the patient as well as the oxygen mask or the nasal cannula, whatever is practicable in that setup. Drugs to minimize coughing at emergence include dexmedetomidine, lignocaine, ketamine, and value of these needs to be balanced against the adverse impact on respiratory drive and neuromuscular function. Sometimes supraglottic airway devices are considered as a bridge to extubation to minimize coughing, But this also involves a second attempt and is not routinely, it is not recommended routinely. There are some publications describing extubation procedures for patients with COVID-19 disease. Asenjo et al. From Canada, they recommended that the sealed anesthesia mask should be placed over the patient's face and prophylactic suctioning tube should be placed prior to extubation. Another paper by Oh-Yung et al. From Singapore, they have recommended that minimal staff should be present at the time of extubation, and they have recommended the plastic sheet over the patient as a barrier. Cook et al. From UK, they have these recommendations for use in ICU or OR. They have said that there should be minimal staff present and we should try to mitigate coughing by giving some sedation, etc. We should avoid non-invasive positive pressure ventilation, and delay of extubation should be done as far as practicable. De Silva et al. From UK, they also have given some recommendations for OT and ICU. They have recommended negative pressure room if it is possible. Key airway personnel should be available on hand in case we need to re-intubate the patient again. Again, the minimum staff inside the OT or 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 ICU before extubation should be kept in mind. Proper PPE should be worn by all present inside, and extubation to anesthesia mask with a double filter circuit should be done. Some of the barrier devices which have been developed in aerosolizing procedures for patients to decrease it. We have all seen the plexiglass hood, which has been cited by Canelli et al. The advantages of using the plexiglass hood is it is durable, it is reusable, it can be validated, it has been validated to reduce spread experimentally. But the disadvantage is that it is expensive, it requires extensive decontamination procedures, and as in all devices, limits the access to airway by the staff. The nylon hood has been cited by Brown et al. They have said that the advantage is it is easy to replace, easy to sanitize, and is cost effective. But they have not been separately validated experimentally, and as usual, they limit access to the airway by the staff. Finally, the clear plastic sheet, which has been advocated by Patino et al., by Oh-Yung et al., and Matava et al. It is advantageous because it is disposable, it is available widely, it is cost effective, and it has been validated to reduce spread experimentally. But the disadvantages are there is extreme limit to airway access for the staff, and it is difficult and time consuming to apply. So these are some of the devices which prevent aerosolization during extubation. This is the lightweight disposable hood device with nylon covering, and this is the plastic sheet covering the patient. The mask over tube extubation technique, here we can see the tracheal tube has been positioned at one corner of the mouth with the ties cut. Next, in this picture, I think it is not visible properly. The face mask with the airway filter is positioned to create a seal over the face and the tracheal tube. The assistant withdraws the tracheal tube from under the side of the mask using two-handed technique to control the tracheal tube. And the tracheal tube has, here we can see that the tracheal tube has been detached and the circuit has been connected to the second airway filter on the face mask. This picture shows that the face mask is railroaded over the endotracheal tube. So as soon as the tube comes out, the mask can be fitted with the oxygen supply and properly fixed over the face of the patient. There is a new device which is called the vacuum assisted negative pressure isolation hood, VANISH system. This has been developed by Stryker Corporation from Michigan. In the panel A, this shows the clear plastic bag with drawstrings which is placed over the hood. The panel B and C show the suction connected on one side to the bag and to the other side with the suction machine. So therefore it is a closed suction, and there is the dispersal from the hood itself is lessened a lot. So we should follow the extubation indicators, and all of the following should be present at the same time. That is, the patient should be conscious and be able to follow relevant instructions. The sputum drainage frequency should have decreased. Patient should have spontaneous breathing pattern with PEEP at less than 5 millimeter of mercury. Respiratory rate should be less than 25 times per minute. There should be spontaneous breathing trial, which should have been accomplished, and PaO2 FiO2 ratio should be more than 200. Also, the dose of NORAD should be less than 0.5 microgram per kg per minute at the time of extubation, and lactic acid should be less than 2 millimoles per liter. So to sum up the steps of extubation in COVID-19 positive patient, first of all, confirm that the patient meets all the extubation criteria, then don the appropriate PPE, minimize staff inside the OR or the ICU, place the patient on FiO2 on ventilator, and ensure that the non-breather mask is ready, but with the oxygen flow to off. Then place the bed pad or the towel on the patient's chest and ensure that the suction is in the on mode and readily available. Secure the nasogastric tube or the feeding tube to the nose properly before extubating the patient. Suction the mouth and loosen the tape, which secures the endotracheal tube to the patient. Turn off all gas flows to off and extubate the patient. Immediately discard the endotracheal tube, the towel, and the drape, and place the non-breather mask on the patient. Turn the oxygen flow to around 10 liters per minute and ensure that the patient is oxygenating and ventilating well. Now, all the providers should sanitize or change their gloves while maintaining the base PPE, and do not allow anyone into the room for at least 40 to 50 minutes after extubation to facilitate 99% of the aerosol removal, especially if the room has a negative pressure, and we assume that there is at least 6 changes per hour of the air inside the room. So to finally summarize, the patient must be considered an appropriate candidate for extubation. Patient should be optimized prior to an attempt at extubation with closed endotracheal tube and orotracheal suctioning. An extended trial of pressure support ventilation and or extended spontaneous breathing should be considered before extubation to minimize the rate of re-intubation. If possible, extubation should take place in a negative pressure room. Otherwise, it should be in open spaces with HEPA filter used to prevent aerosolized viral particle spread. Only necessary staff wearing proper PPE should remain inside the room during the procedure, and oxygen mask should be placed immediately over the patient's mouth and nose after removal of the endotracheal tube. And the non-invasive positive pressure ventilation modalities should be employed only for high-risk patients, or if the oxygen saturation goes down while after extubation. So to conclude, the airway management of patients with known or suspected COVID-19 requires specific considerations for safety of staff as well as the patient. Accuracy is critical, and clinicians should avoid unreliable, unprepared or repeated techniques during airway management, thus enabling a safe, accurate and swift extubation. Thank you. Stay safe.
Yeah.
Yes, you can see.
Yeah. So they have the KingView direct video laryngoscope. So they have the both blades, direct and channeled.
Video is not smooth.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Actually, it happens because of the speed.
Yeah.
Usually, videos don't work in webinar.
It's bandwidth problem.
Yeah, bandwidth problem.
Again, they have the channel blade. Now, there's a channel blade also.
This equipment is long since in the market, and it is being
Yeah.
used being used very frequently and regularly by most of the institutions. Because it is reasonably cheaper version. Rest of the equipments are pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Actually, people are using it.
And-
Now it's-
And
yeah,
especially in COVID pandemic, so
I-
video
I-
laryngoscope is
I
the
have this
very
in the-
important.
Yeah, I have it in the COVID ICU, both ICU.
Yeah. We must have in all ICU and OR separately.
Actually, always the gold standard is CMAC, but CMAC
Yeah.
is there in ICU. You cannot. I mean, this is obviously you can go with disposable blade.
Small,
Actually,
yeah.
these blades are disposable.
Yes. So thank you so much.